There's like a moment where it's just like, oh my God, like I'm here. And there's another moment where I'm just like, oh, like I can do more. And I think, I had like another surge where like I almost get to silver, but I don't quite make it. But I still felt like, that was a race where like I left everything out there.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Set the Pace, the official podcast of New York Roadrunners, presented by Peloton. I'm your host and the CEO of New York Roadrunners, Rob Simmelcare, and I am pleased to be joined in person with a live studio audience here at the New York Roadrunners Run Center featuring the New Balance Run Hub. And so that means I get to be in the same room as my amazing, talented, and lovely co-host, Becs Gentry from Peloton. Hello, Becs.
Hi. Hi, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here. I love these in-person events. I missed one. I missed our most previous one.
Yes.
As well.
You were laid up, but you're feeling better now, right?
She's out of the boot.
You're moving great. You look great. So things are going well?
Running around again. Yes.
Oh, we like that.
You. Anyone who's had an injury knows what I mean. Frustrated.
It's kind of important for you because, if I get an injury, like that stinks for me. I'm running races and, trying to run, as you know, Chicago Marathon. But I'm doing that for fun. I mean, I work in running, but running isn't actually my job. Thank God, by the way, that it's not my actual job. But in your case, like you have to be able to run.
Yeah.
So this is no joke when you get an injury.
Yeah. It was tough. And I'm also a stubborn Aries. So, anyone knows an Aries, we do not take advice well. So being told to sit on my behind and do nothing is not something I do, ever. But I did. I binge watched a lot of TV shows.
That's a good excuse
and I read a
to
book.
binge watch. You read a book?
I read a book that wasn't like I was going to go straight in with a self-help book. You know what I mean? Like a growth book.
Was it a novel? Was it fiction? What did you read?
Pure fiction.
Was it like a romance kind of book? Was it like something like that?
It was Marion Keyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I loved it. I literally was like, this is amazing. I read it in a second. I wish I could read the growth educational self-help books that quickly.
Sometimes you just need a little brain candy. So
You do?
I get it. I totally get it.
Brain candy. That's
Yeah.
such a good way of saying it.
Yeah.
Brain candy.
Well,
I'm thinking
good.
that.
I'm glad you had a little
Yay.
break. I'm glad you're back
Yay.
at it. All right, we got some people,
Amazing.
as we record this podcast, just to set the scene for you, if you're listening, we got people walking in and out of the Run Center, getting their bibs for either the Fifth Avenue Mile or the Bronx 10 Miler, which is next week. So we got a lot of big races coming up, and it's a very exciting time at New York Roadrunner. So we're excited for what's to come.
I get to interview you on Sunday. I'm part of the broadcast team for the Fifth Avenue Mile on Sunday.
Which we're so excited about.
So excited. But I get to interview him, actually interview him, not just chat. Like, I actually get to ask the questions.
Take it easy on me. I hope you'll take it easy on me. No hard questions. The broadcast, by the way, in case you're not able to be there live on Fifth Avenue, we're going to be live on Channel 7 in New York, WABC, as well as nationally on ESPN+. So you can check out that broadcast anywhere, and it should be an incredible Fifth Avenue Mile, which we'll talk about. We have to do our little annual check-in on my Chicago Marathon training.
Weekly. Let's not make this annual, otherwise I'm a really bad
Oh,
coach.
did I say weekly? Exactly. So I want to give you an update on how things are going. First of all, I feel good.
Good.
Things are going well. I texted Becs on Monday. I ran a new race on Monday. It was in New Haven, Connecticut. There's a pretty famous 20K. It's actually the national championship 20K race up in New Haven. They added a little bit on to make a half marathon for folks like me who want to run the 13.1. So I ran the New Haven half marathon on Labor Day.
Congratulations.
It was a beautiful day, beautiful course too. It was pretty flat, like you're going all through downtown New Haven, Connecticut, past Yale and all this historic stuff. It was a very nice course. It was fancy, and I really enjoyed it. And had a good time. I mean, one thing that really has happened this year with my training backs is you have pushed me to really push myself during the long runs in a way that I really never had before. I had always looked at a long run as just cover the distance and you'll be fine. And that is fine. And that's how most people approach long runs. But I've really started pushing myself to run the marathon pace or better. in a lot of these long runs. And I have to say, I feel like it's paying dividends for me because I ran a 1:37 in the half in New Haven, and that was miles 5 through 17 or 18 of my long run.
Yep.
So I had some tired legs,
You did.
and it felt pretty good. So I feel like things are going okay.
Yay, that is music to my ears. And it is slightly controversial, but every coach is different, and that's why everybody has different coaches. I do push people a little harder. And if you take my Peloton classes, I guess you know that. But I do subscribe to the belief that most long runs should be marathon pace. If you have a goal. If you don't have a goal, feel free. Run at whatever you pace you want to run at. Forward is a pace. You know, I say that. But marathon pace, you're crushing it, dude. You're going to be amazing.
I think I'll feel more confident showing up at the starting line knowing that I've run this pace for some long stretches of time, you know, instead of trying to do it for the first time on race day.
That's the key. I feel so bad because it happened to me. I showed up on race day and I had no idea how my race pace should feel. And that is miserable because it can suck. It can really suck. So you should know how your race pace feels.
Well, the two highlights of the New Haven race for me were, first of all, at about mile 7, I look up and I see a familiar face, a guy standing on the sideline of the race. And I'm getting closer and closer, and I'm like, is that who I think it is? And it's Jack Fleming, the CEO of the Boston Marathon, happened to be in New Haven, and he had a little bit of he got a little confused. He meant to run the half marathon. He accidentally ran the 5K. It's actually kind of a funny story. He probably would not like me telling this story, but he accidentally ran the 5K. So he was done, and he knew I was running because he follows me on Strava. So he went to find me, found me on the course, and we ran the second half of the half marathon together, which was really awesome. Jack is a very fast man, so he pushed me pretty hard in that race. And then the second highlight for me was, does anyone know about New Haven pizza? Because New Haven, I mean, we've got great pizza in New York. Of course, Chicago's got their deep dish. New Haven, Connecticut is famous for pizza.
Really?
And they have a style of pizza in New Haven, which I call, it's written a pizza, like A-P-I-Z-Z-A.
Oh, that's what you went after.
Yes. I don't think it's pronounced a pizza. There's some better way to pronounce it. But there are a few really famous places. And I went to a place called Sally's, which is one of the like OG. I see some people giving thumbs up in the audience. It's one of the OG pizza places in New Haven. And it was an hour wait. And half the people there had just run the half.
I was going to say,
so they were all kind of like waiting for this pizza. But oh my God, Bex, this was worth every minute of that wait. It is this brick oven. You're not just saying that because you had
19 miles in you.
Oh, I mean, there's nothing better after a long run than pizza. Let's be honest, pizza and beer. But it was just an incredible pie. It was amazing pizza. So that made it an incredible Labor Day for me in New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, that sounds so nice, and sounds like I really should get myself to Connecticut.
I recommend this race for anybody who wants to run a fun race, the Labor Day race in New Haven, Connecticut, the half of the 20K or whatever. By the way, Connor Mance ran the 20K and won up in New Haven. So they had some real pros running this race, and our friend Connor Mance was the men's winner of the 20K.
This year?
On Monday.
Oh,
he was there. He was in New Haven, and he won this thing. So it's a big race. It was a lot of fun. All right, well, we've talked enough about me and my running, but it was a good day in New Haven. Let's talk about some actual fast runners for a second. We've got the New Balance Fifth Avenue Mile coming up. And Bex, we have a loaded professional field in this year's Fifth Avenue Mile, which is not easy because, you know, the World Championships are coming up in Tokyo very soon. So there's a lot of people, obviously, who are keeping their powder dry for Tokyo. But our incredible pro athletes team, Sam Grotwald and Dorian Kale and Christine Burke, have assembled an amazing team, including 11 Olympians and many of the fastest athletes in the world. On the women's side, defending champion Carissa Schweitzer will return to defend her title. We're excited to see her. You might remember Carissa tied the event record in winning in her debut last year.
Time.
And she said she's coming back to take another crack at breaking the record in that race. She's a 5,000-meter specialist. She will have some pretty stiff competition. 800-meter standout, Raven Rogers, who was the 2020 Olympic bronze medalist, Olympic steeplechaser, Courtney Waymont, and Olympian Heather McLean, who is the American indoor 1,500-meter record holder. So that's going to be a great race on the women's side.
I remember last year because it was following the Olympics last year. So I feel like we've always got something where people are either warmed up or warming up in between this race. So it's going to be so fantastic. And the weather's looking good. Weather
It
is
looks
looking
good. So hopefully the rain stays away. We've had some rainy days in the past for this race, but it's looking good. So
I
fingers
know,
crossed.
I mean, obviously for spectators, a little bit of rain, not great, but for the people at home spectating, a bit of rain is exciting. You know, like Formula One, when it rains, you're like, yes.
A little rain. A little rain is fine. Not a monsoon. We've had some monsoons,
Not a monsoon,
at this
but
race.
for
We
a
don't like
mile, I
that.
feel like it adds some grit. You know?
Yes, I agree with you on that. Well, on the men's side, we're very excited to announce our guest today on Set the Pace is the current North American indoor and outdoor mile record holder and Olympic 1,500-meter bronze medalist, Yared Nuguse, who is going to join us here on Set the Pace. And we are so excited to have Yared leading an incredible field in the Fifth Avenue Mile that's also going to include last year's runner-up, Josh Hoey, plus Hobbs Kessler, Sam Crackle. It's going to be a great field. And how cool is it to have Yared coming in to run the Fifth Avenue Mile? His first time ever running any New York Road Runners race.
What?
For real.
That just stopped me in my tracks.
I
Like,
know.
ugh. Wow. Okay, we just had a really interesting conversation in the green room there. I feel like I learned a lot about Yared in the past, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes I had to chat. So I'm really excited to keep this conversation going. He is amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yared is an incredible guy, a great story. So he's going to be out here in a
He's going
second.
to come out in a second, but we
And
have so much other stuff going on this weekend,
There-
especially if you listened to the podcast last week.
It's true. It's true. We've got some celebrities
Yep.
who are running the mile. We've got the first ever Broadway mile
Do we have
happening
any Broadway
on Sunday.
fans in here?
Musical fans?
Yes!
Of course, it's New York. You got to have some
Yes.
Broadway fans. So this is a Broadway mile. We're going to have stars of the stage from all kinds of shows all up and down Broadway, some off-Broadway folks as well, who are going to be running down Fifth Avenue from theaters and productions all over the city, which we're very excited about. And we've also got a number of other kind of showdown races as part of the Fifth Avenue Mile. We've got the NYPD and the FDNY. They will face off, as they love to do in so many of our races. And, of course, we've got another 8,500 or so runners from ages 2 to 90, because we've got kids' races as well.
I need to sign Tallulah up. This should be her first race.
I actually thought this was going to be Tallulah's first race.
It was supposed to be, but
what
Mom,
happened?
Mom hasn't signed her up yet. Can I get her?
Oh,
Can I get her in?
Mom, what happened? I think we can. Can we
Get her?
get? Can we get Tallulah signed up for this race? We're gonna see. You may have to
She's real fast.
pull some strings, but I think we can get your daughter in because
She pulls
two
the
in-
elbows though. We might have to. She's a bit of a like jostly runner.
she's gonna throw some elbows in the race,
Mhm.
knock some kids over just to get to that finish line. I like the competition. I like that competitive spirit. Let's get this done.
Yeah.
We gotta
All
have.
right, we'll get it
We
done.
gotta have Tallulah's debut at the Fifth Avenue Mile. So again, come on out to check it out. It's a great thing to watch in person if you
Yeah.
come out. I like to hang out on the lower end of the course. If
Yep.
you come out around the plaza, a little bit north of that,
Yep.
you can see the finishes. You can see these great runners. And if you can't make it there, again, you can watch it live on WABC Channel 7 or ESPN Plus. Coverage is from noon to 1 Eastern Time. And also new this year, our friends at iHeartRadio will have live race day radio coverage, as we just talked about, on 710
So fun.
WORAM. So it's going to be awesome. If you're training for a race or just trying to stay motivated, Peloton is the perfect running companion. Their instructor-led runs and walks are built to fit into your training routine with classes that help you stay consistent, build speed, and enjoy the experience. Take your metrics, see your progress, and train smarter with pace targets, hit runs, and so much more. They've got it all to help you reach your goals and stay on track. Ready to take your race training up a notch? Learn more at onepeloton.com/race-training. Peloton, an official partner of the 2025 TCS New York City Marathon. Should we bring out Yared Nuguse? All right, we are so excited to have this incredible runner join us. Yared is a native of Louisville, Kentucky, and he once dreamed of being an orthodontist, which you don't hear every day. He is a Notre Dame graduate, a biochemistry major. This is a guy who can do more than just run a mile.
Yeah, a lot more. Yeah.
And not only does he run, but off the track, he makes art on Instagram, and he's obviously one of the world's best milers. He took the Olympic bronze medal in the 1,500 meters in Paris and opened this year by setting the indoor mile world record of 3:46.63, right here in New York City at the Millrose Games up at the Armory, and that was his third straight New York Roadrunners Wanamaker Mile title. After a packed spring and summer competing in both Grand Slam track events and the Diamond League, he's making his debut at the New Balance Fifth Avenue Mile this Sunday. So let's give it up for Yared Nuguse. Welcome to Set the Pace. This is a treat.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you guys for having me on.
We are so honored to have you here. I just got stopped in my tracks because I realized that it was your first New York Roadrunners race ever.
No, yeah, that's right. I think I've always seen Fifth Ave and always kind of like the idea of coming out and doing it, but never really worked out with my last 2 seasons. So,
of course,
glad I could work out.
You've had a pretty busy past 2 seasons, which we're definitely going to get into, but we are so happy that you are here to do it this year.
No, yeah, thank you guys.
Yared, I have been very lucky to be right there in the flesh for some incredible moments recently in your career. I was in Paris, in the stadium at the Stade de France, for that incredible 1,500-meter race that you obviously finished third. Of course, your teammate, Mr. Hawker, had that incredible day, winning gold. You won bronze. So that was obviously a day that you'll never forget. I want to talk about that for a minute before we get on to what's been happening more recently and that race. And for those who haven't seen it, I recommend everybody go back, find it on YouTube or NBC Olympics or whatever it is. It is one of the most thrilling moments that you'll ever see. And the mile to me, Yared, is like after maybe the 100 meters and the 200 meters, which are those incredible surges of adrenaline that you get as a fan. You just seeing those runners out of the block. The mile is so exciting, especially as you see them come around that final lap. Walk me through that race just a little bit from I'm sure you've done this only a couple of thousand times, but I want to just, from this distance now over a year away, how shocking or fulfilling is it still for you the way that race ended up playing out?
Yeah, no, it was really crazy, honestly. I think, coming into Paris, I hadn't really had like an outdoor world medal at that point. And I think, with the competition that was there, I felt a little intimidated, but also like strong enough that, I definitely could get one if the race was right. Coming into it, I definitely was more anxious than I felt for any race I've ever done, which makes sense, Olympic final. But I think like, even just like every race, every heat I had in like that stadium was just, so much fun and so exciting. And, getting to that last one, I remember I was obviously a little nervous, but trying to like calm my nerves and stuff. And they have us like doing intros, which they hadn't done for any of the other races. And I've never done like an actual intro where it's like you stand there for a minute and then like go. And I was just like, oh God, like what am I gonna do? And then I spent like the whole like pre-intro period thinking like I gotta think of something to do for this intro like right now, otherwise I'm gonna look stupid.
That's so interesting that's the kind of thing that ends up in your head, right? When you're on a stage that's bigger than any stage you've ever been on.
Honestly, I think it was a distraction. I was kind of just like latching on to like anything to make me not think about the race for a moment. We do our introductions, we get out there and like, we're on the track and it kind of feels like a, I'm ready for it sort of moment. And the gun goes off and it's like hot right from the start. I think Jakob really just wanted to run that race hard.
Jakob Ingebrigtsen, of course,
yes.
Yep.
And I think a lot of it just kind of felt like, okay, just like stay in it. In a race that fast, all you can really do is just stick where you are and then wait till that last lap to kind of do something. And then, that last lap comes and it's just like, I feel really good. I think like you kind of know how your race is going to go by that last lap. And I think, in that race, I felt like, okay, like I'm feeling really good. I can do this. 300 to go, like kind of Cole starts passing me around. And I kind of try to like hold that off a little bit, but he gets around me and then we both get around Timothy Chariot. And then it's the four of us, Jakob and Josh, who've been obviously hyped up the entire year. And then, Cole and me. And, I think at that moment, I just was like that 200 to go moment. That's where it really felt like, okay, like, we're really here. Like that's when the tension builds and everything just kind of, locks into place. And I feel like I'm more in the zone than anything. But I definitely remember like that last 100 meters, like I go really wide because I'm just like, I need the space and it looks crazy crowded in there. And I remember like everyone's kind of like passing Jakob, and I get into like that bronze position, and I'm just like, there's like a moment where it's just like, oh my God, like I'm here. And there's still a race to go, so I'm still just like, okay, we gotta like hold him off. I don't know if he's gonna have like another kick or something, but there was like another moment. This is very like obviously quick.
I love it. I love this. Yeah, they're brief moments, but they're moments
Yes.
you'll never gonna forget.
But
yeah.
they're like very clearly I can remember. Although like the whole thing, it feels like a general fog over it, but it's kind of like there's these moments, and there's another moment where I'm just like, oh, like I can do more. And I think, I had like another surge where like I almost get to silver, but I don't quite make it. But I still felt like, that was a race where like I left everything out there and, was really happy about that.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine that feeling of going from the nerves of the intro moment to going, I can see you making that move. I can still see it in my mind and watching you do that day and just being like, oh my goodness, this is actually happening. Like, there we go. Massive congratulations. Like,
Thank you.
Forever. Let's take it back to how running started for you, because you weren't always like super into running as a child, and it was only apparently your PE teacher who noticed that your mile time was pretty quick. How old were you when they noticed that?
Yeah, so it was my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
So I was 14. Yeah, 14. And I think at the time, I wasn't even like a sporty person in general. Very nerdy, like still am. And
We love the mixture.
Yes. But yeah, in PE, like we had these like required miles that we would run for a grade, and I'm not gonna get like a B in PE. So it was kind of just like, but more than that, it was pretty easy to get an A. But it was like, but I was still just like, if I'm gonna run a mile, I'm just gonna run it as fast as I can. Who cares? And then like get to this McDonald's that we'd go to before everyone else did.
The rewards.
And so yeah, I'd run like 5:40 or something, which is pretty fast for someone who doesn't run at all.
Was that the first time you'd ever really run a mile or run?
Yeah, like
for
I
speed?
think that was the first time I'd been like timed at least. And so I do it and I just go about my day after that and just be like, cool, totally dusted everyone, nailed it. And then my PE teacher sees this and he tells the cross country and track coach, who approaches me in the middle of my AP Human Geography class, I remember. And he just takes me outside and he's just like, hey, like, I heard you run really fast in the mile in PE, you should join the track team. And I was like, no. That sounds hard and I don't want to do that. And he's like, no, but like really, you should like really, he was really persuasive. And I was kind of just like, okay, like I'll give it a try just to see what happens.
Had anybody, I'm curious, in your family been a runner? Did you have any of this in your world?
No one in my family did running, and my brother did like a little basketball, but like he didn't really, like none of us were really athletes. And so it felt weird to go out and do that, but I remember just like how quickly, I fell in love with it. My first race, I remember, I didn't know what spikes were or any kind of fancy shoe thing. So I ran it in like my worn down tennis shoes that I wear like every day to class.
Even more impressive.
I ended up running like, it was a 2 mile indoors. And I remember because I ran like 11 something minutes and one of my shoes fell off like halfway through because someone with spikes stepped on the back of it and it just slipped off. And then I drank like too much water at the end because no one told me that if you drink a lot of water right after your race, you're going to throw up. So I threw up.
All the rookie mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I kind of loved it. I think it just felt so different from everything else I did. There's just like this moment of just, competition, just like putting it into like a small moment of like 11 minutes in this case, and just like racing as fast as you could felt really, really good. And I think, I got really good really quickly, made a lot of friends really quickly, and then, decided to keep on doing it.
And all of that success in high school puts you on a path for Notre Dame, a pretty good place in sports. I've heard from time to time they've had a good team here and there, and you ran there as well. And talk about the experience of running at Notre Dame. Obviously, it's a school known for football and other sports, but what was it like being a running star there? And then I want to talk about your academic side as well.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I think I didn't even know what Notre Dame was before they contacted me. Fun fact. They had contacted me like the fall of my senior year in high school, and the coach was just like, he had like just become coach like last year, so he was kind of just like recruiting everyone he could. But I went on my visit and I fell in love with it really, really quickly. And I feel like, throughout my time there just felt like there was just like a lot of like really good team camaraderie, which I think was what I wanted the most. And my coach was just like really focused on building this like really great, in his case, cross country team, but have good track athletes too. But I think it was really fun because like we were really bad at first. Like my first year, my freshman year, we didn't even make it to nationals. But like over the course of it, we would end up our highest finish would be like second place at NCAAs, which I think was just like a really huge moment for our team. And I think there was just so much at Notre Dame that I think I really appreciated. And I felt like I really came into my own person as well. So really, really grateful for that and just everything Notre Dame gave to me.
Wow, I still struggle. I've been here 8 years from the UK originally, and I still struggle to understand how Americans seem to excel at two things when they're at university, college. Because in the UK, it's very much like you pick academia or sport. And here it's like you did, and I'm gonna read this to get it right. Okay, you had a degree in biochemistry whilst you were doing this incredible rise to excellence on the Notre Dame track team. Like that to me is like, how are you Beyonce? Like, do you have that many hours in the day? Like, it's unreal. But
I bet that's the first time someone's asked you if you're Beyonce.
Yeah, that's a crazy comparison, but I love it.
Okay, I'm taking that with me.
But yeah, no, I think one of the reasons I chose Notre Dame was because like I wanted this like academic athletic balance that I didn't really see at a lot of other schools I was looking at, and because like academics was the most important thing in my head anyway, and like making sure I go to a good college and do really well so I can like go to dental school and do really well and yada yada yada. Like I had this plan.
You were still on the dental school path at this point. Running was just like a bit of fun.
No, yeah, running was just like a great extracurricular. It's gonna look great on my applications, I'm sure, especially if I'm really good at it. So I would, I remember like I had a couple of conversations with my coach, Carlson. He was just like, there's easier ways, there's easier majors. Like you don't have to do biochemistry, which I actually only started doing because I thought that was the only way you could take biology and chemistry, which is not true. But no one told me that, so I majored in biochemistry. But I ended up really loving it. I think biochemistry and chemistry in general, I feel like I was just, I don't know, I just loved it, honestly. It was hard and it was annoying and obviously also hard to juggle it with running, but it was kind of easy for me to separate the two. Yeah. I always saw running as more of like, my enjoyment and break between like all this hard studying I did versus, like stressing out about school and then stressing out about running. Like I didn't need more stressors in my life, obviously. And it was tough, I think, especially my freshman year. But I think I found a good rhythm for my sophomore year and the rest of the time I had there.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned the dental interest, and that wasn't just a college thing. Like we were talking before the show, you are still on the dental track, right? You are still focused on becoming an orthodontist when your running career is over. Where did that come from? Where was no one in your family's an orthodontist, right? Where did this interest come from?
So yeah, I think really I attribute it all to like my orthodontist when I was a kid, Dr. Woods, shout out. You all
know Dr. Woods. I'm sure we all know Dr. Woods out there. He gets mentioned in running podcasts all the time.
But he was, I had a terrible mouth situation. Like it was scary. I feel like I didn't care. I thought it looked cool, but I think to everyone it was like, my lateral incisors are just like the side front teeth, like behind my front teeth, and like everything else was crooked, and I just looked like a shark basically. But through Dr. Woods and like my braces treatment, I eventually got like really straight teeth over a long time. But I always loved like coming into do our monthly checkups and whatnot, and just like having the chance to talk to him, and like he was just so much fun to talk to me. Like I was just like, just this grown man who's just like I don't know. I don't know why he's so much more fun to talk up to than like most adults are at that age. And I feel like, I remember specifically, like I had this one conversation with him where I'm just like I know I want to be like in like some kind of science thing, like maybe a doctor, but like there's like so many different doctor paths that you can do. And like, I don't know which one's for me. And he's like, you should just be an orthodontist. And I was like, you're so right. And then
sign me up.
And I would eventually look more into it. And like, I saw a lot of things that I really enjoyed about it that kind of drew me to it. I think, I really like the idea of like working with like younger children or the teenager age and whatnot. I really like the idea of just like doing something that kind of sticks. Like I think, in dentistry, you're kind of just like always fixing people and whatnot. But, in orthodontics, like you do something and it should stick if they're doing their retainers and whatnot. And I think I want to have like a permanent, like a lasting impact on the people who come to see me. And I also didn't want to have anyone's lives in my hand. I don't think I would be okay if I was like a surgeon or something and someone died. But yeah, I think like orthodontist like encapsulates all of that really well. And I think, that's what I want to do.
It makes sense. And we talked about the Invisalign. You've got Invisalign right now, so you're still a patient, I guess, as well, which is great. Well, you know what, Bex? I've never met an out-of-work orthodontist in my life. So I think it's a good career. There's always business. There's always business for an orthodontist, right?
Oh, yeah. I think people say as long as people have teeth, there's going to be dentists and orthodontists and whatnot.
Yeah. And it's very cool now for grown-ups to get braces and all sorts. So, okay. You said something when we were talking about you changing from studying, being more on the academia side, to running. That kind of just like pinged in my head. Competition side. So, as you were, your words, very nerdy, very geeky, very good at it, very, very clever. And then running came along. Was that, do you think, the start of your like passion to want to build your competitive side on the running alongside like obviously what you were doing in the classroom? Like you were the best in sciences and you were on track to be very, very good there. But then running came along and was like, ooh, this is a new competition to be the best at whatever distance you wanted to be. Like,
yeah, I think like running kind of just provided, another more clear outlet for my competitiveness. Because I think I've always been very competitive. I grew up with 5 siblings, so it's just like,
yeah,
obviously.
And he's pretty much in the middle, right?
Yeah, I'm like 4th. And so like, for me, it was, in school, it was just like, oh, like I gotta be the best in school so that I can get a better report card than all my siblings or something. Or like, even like whether it was like beating everyone in my class or like doing everything I could, just like be at the top. I think that I always had that in me, and that's why I worked so hard in those things. Yeah. And then, running comes along and it's like, oh, well, now it's a very more clearly a competition because it's just like, huge. It's literally you're competing. But, it was different. Like you're not doing a competition of like your mind. It's, well, part mind, I would say. Yeah. But, you're just kind of like having just a pressurized moment of just adrenaline, just like leaving it all out on the track,
Yeah. And that stayed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. You mentioned no one else was really athletic in your family. As you've gone on to have all this success as an athlete, which we're going to talk more about in a little bit, but how has your family reacted to that? I don't know if your siblings or your parents, are they into this, or are they like, what is he doing again? He's in the Olympics, he's doing this, he's doing that. Like, what is it like being really the only athlete in a family and doing it at the level that you're doing it?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely supportive, but it's not like their knowledge of running has grown exponentially since I've been competing. I think they know what they know, and like they'll watch the races, but like they are not going to watch an entire track meet. They don't care about what's going on. They just care about me and what I'm doing, and like that's it. And I think I've kind of enjoyed that. I think the idea of like, parents who knew a lot about track and like kind of being a little overbearing, I think that would have kind of pushed me away a little bit. But it is just kind of nice. Like they support in their own weird way, I will say. They're kind of just like, oh wow, you killed it, like as expected. That's what you should be doing. Like what?
Always
Or-
expecting you to be at the top.
Yeah, or just like, oh, you lost, loser. Like what? So they keep me
That's nice.
grounded. Yeah.
Okay, talking of not losing, but after the games, it was a quad injury, right?
This was back in 21, right?
Back
You
in 21, so I ran the
qualified.
Olympic
This was
trial.
when you were in college, right? You
was.
you qualified for those Olympic trial.
That was the 1500.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what was it like for you? Like how you coping with missing out on Tokyo and like being you qualified, you were at the trials. It was there for the taking to be the leader of the classroom.
No, yeah. I mean, that was always like a really tough moment for me because I think like coming into those trials, I wasn't expecting to make the team. I was kind of just like, I'm gonna go out here and try my best, but I don't know if I'm good enough to be like top 3 in the USA right now. And then like that race happens and I do end up coming in 3rd. And obviously I'm super excited and like very shocked and then very nervous because I'm just like, I was like, how am I going to compete on like the world stage?
Yeah.
Like I was definitely very, very nervous going into that race. And then like I got a quad injury like when I like right after I got there to Tokyo. And I think like that was really hard because I'd just never really been like actually injured before. And so just like, trying to like just get better as fast as I could and just like make it so that I could at least like get to the line was really hard. And I think, it just kind of like sat in the back of my head, I feel like until Paris happened where it was just like, I didn't really compete at the Olympics. Like I was there, I'm Olympian, but like I didn't even get to like race on that track like even once because I actually just could not run fast like at all. And I wasn't just gonna go out there and run like 5 minutes for a 1500.
Yeah, not when you qualify was a 3:36.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was really hard, but I feel like, in a lot of ways, I feel like Paris kind of like released me from that race and just like what happened there. I think like I was kind of able to be like, all right, not only like, because I probably would not have medaled in Tokyo. Realistically, I was not at that point in my career where I am now. But, but now it's kind of like, oh, like I've done it. I've made it there at that stage. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
How has the medal in Paris changed your life? Is it do you feel it's you're seen differently? I'm sure when you show up to track meets, it's very different, right? I mean, what is it like now for you, and how different is it for you day to day as an Olympic medalist?
I mean, the day-to-day is honestly more similar than you'd expect. I just kind of go about my normal life as normal. It's just like I will get recognized more often than I used to before the medal, especially here in New York. I've been on like a couple runs in Central Park, and it's like I'm like 100% chance gonna get like recognized by someone.
We're pretty into running here in New York.
Yes, in Central Park, there are a lot of hardcore running fans, so that's the place to get recognized.
But no, I think like for me personally, it just kind of like instilled a lot of confidence. I think, like you come out of a race like that where it's just like everyone's so good and everyone's at their best, and like coming away with the bronze medal there just feels like, you are one of those people and you're always going to belong in that kind of group. And so, it gives you a lot of confidence like into your races, just like how you want to perform there.
Have you and Cole Hocker talked about the race since Paris? Have you sat down and kind of walked through it from each of your perspectives? I'm curious.
After the race we did, like when we were kind of set around for press conferences and meet medal, actually getting the medal and all that crap. But not really after that. No, I think like, we just haven't really had like a moment where it's just like, let's just talk about this race from like over a year ago now. Like
Had enough time to just both debrief in your own way and now come together.
I'm sure like the POV is very similar. It's just like the race was fast, hanging on, and then I mean for him it just opened up on the inside, which I'm sure felt a relief to him just after being blocked in.
Yeah.
But now you haven't really like sat down and talked about it. So yeah.
Keep us posted on that one. Okay, so let's move to indoor. Well, I mean they're kind of both. Paris is like indoor, outdoor.
It was outdoor, but there was kind of a
outdoor, but
roof.
it kind of feels, you know, it's like the tennis. You're like, it's indoor, outdoor. Anyway, I digress. In February, you ran a 3:46.63. indoors at the Millrose Games to set the world mile record.
And that was the other place that I was close to your achievement.
He's basically
because
trying to say that he's your good luck charm.
I would like to think so, which means you should have a good day on Sunday because I'm going to be there. Yeah. But no, I was actually, I'm sure you remember this like it was yesterday, holding the tape when you broke that record at the Millrose Games. Nena Lynch, our chair, and I were holding that tape, and it was an incredible experience just to see you come down that stretch and hit that tape in time to break that indoor record on that brand new Millrose Games track up at the Armory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, honestly, that race was like my first race of the season too, I think. And I think just like I had always come so close to that mile record, and it just felt like, oh, like come on, like this has third time's got to be a charm at this point, like, and just to see it like finally come together and like finally get my first world record was just like such a crazy, great experience for me. I think there was just like, I had a lot of people there too. And so it was just like really fun celebrating that afterwards. But yeah, no, I think that race also just feels like a blur, honestly. It's just kind of like, was run. And then like, okay, we're at the finish line. Great. That was it.
And we were just talking about indoor versus outdoor distances back in the green room. And I was like, what do you prefer? Laps or point to point? And his first question was like, what pace? I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. But the countdown of the laps is something that we were talking about. And how do you, when you're running that fast, how do you keep calm and be consistency to just stick with it and keep going?
Yeah, I think the 1500 is really interesting because there's not like a ton of time to like think or do other things, but there's still enough time to kind of like just at least make a couple moves, and I feel like a lot of the 800 is kind of just like, stay relaxed, stay in it, and just, find a comfortable but fast position for like the first 800 meters, and then, just like making sure you're where you need to be for like that last lap or that last 200. And I think I've run like so many 1500s at this point that it all just kind of becomes like, second nature of just like where I'm at and like, what I want to do at certain phases. Like, I know every time I hear that bell, there's just like a moment of just like, go now, like we're doing it. And yeah. So it's always been, really exciting. I think just to, I don't know, especially that last 200, it's just, it's always great.
Do you feel the nerves bubble up when you got that last 200 of like, oh?
No, I think it's like after the race starts, like there's no more nerves. It's just like it's happening.
Wow. Yeah.
We're in it, like and I think like the excitement bubbles up and like getting to really go all out basically at that last 200 is always just a really great experience.
Yeah,
I like that mentality. It's happening. It's happening. Just go with it.
There's just a certain like built-in drama to the last 200 of a mile or a 1500. Not every marathon gets that. We don't typically get a lot of scintillating, super close finishes at marathons, obviously. But at that distance, there's just something really dramatic about it. Having run a few when I was in high school myself, it just felt dramatic, right? Do you love that moment of like, okay, now it's on. You get to that bell lap, those last 200 meters. You have a sense in most of your races of what everybody on the track might have left, or is it really focused more on what you think you've got left?
No, yeah, it's definitely just like, what I'm doing and what I can do. I've always been good at just focusing on myself in general, but I think, you get to the ends of those races and it's just like, it doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. Like, I need to just sprint as like fast as I can. And I think, we all love competing. I think all professional runners in general and all runners, period. But, there's something, I don't know, something about like finishing a fast race that I just really love doing. Yeah. So, yeah.
Were you bummed when Jakob Ingebrigtsen broke your record like 5 days later? I mean, you didn't get to hold that indoor record for very long. I remember thinking, oh man, what a bummer. I saw that record and now it's already been broken. What was it like when you got the news from Europe that he'd broken the record?
No, I remember watching it. I was kind of just like, honestly, like we were like, what are the odds? And I feel like we were like, probably pretty high. Like, I don't know. He's like, knowing him, if he's fit, like, he probably could. I wasn't that bummed. I was a little bummed. I was kind of just like, I had it. I got it.
Yeah.
And I would always be like, no, I was always first. So
I was gonna say, you set the record. He just broke it. There's something different.
But no, I had good fun about it. And I think, I've never really liked the idea of like really, really old records. I think like I never would want like a record that lasted for like 30, 40, 50 years or whatever. Because then it feels like, what is track doing right now? Like, why aren't people running fast, But these days it feels like everyone's getting faster and it's, really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely they are. All right, let's talk about the Bauman. Bauman, spectacular. The Bauman Mile. Okay, so you were out-leaned by Neil Larios. Laros, I always say Larios. That's a whole different runner, right? Okay, but you lost by 1/100th of a second. I don't even know what that is. Like obviously we look on our watches, but how do finishes like that teach you to finish differently? Like we all think of, most of us here are kind of more long distance runners. We don't have to think about really how we come over the finish line other than hopefully standing up. But on the track, and for you, there's tactics to how far you lean. Like, how did that change your trajectory of how you finish a race?
Yeah, no, I think from that race specifically, it's a unique race because also I was just like going after like a record essentially and just like seeing how fast I could run and just died like really, really hard. But, I think a lot of times, like when you're finishing a race and like you feel good finishing a race, like I did in like Paris or most of my races, then, there is more of like that like lean factor. And I think I've always been like, I usually do have a good lean. It was really just that race where I didn't. But honestly, I think, I still ran like the race I wanted to run and like still had a really good race that like I've beaten people by like 100th of a second before, less than 100th of a second before. And, it's always crazy. It's always like, oh my God, did I actually get that? Like, but I think, it still doesn't like take away. Like when they're both that close, like you both kind of know that it was just like, feels like a fractional thing. Like on any other day, like could have been totally different. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
So we're so thrilled to have you in New York this weekend. It's going to be a great moment for the New Balance Fifth Avenue Mile to have you as a part of this race. I know, Yara, that this was probably not where you planned to be this part of your season, right? Obviously, we've got a World Championships happening in Tokyo. You didn't end up getting through in Eugene, Oregon to qualify for the World Championships. And then I know you had a shot in Zurich to qualify and things didn't quite work out for you. I know you had some health issues there. So can you reflect a little bit on, you've had such an incredible last year and a half, right? So it'd be hard for you to be disappointed about much in the way that your last year and a half has gone, but how do you feel about, not going to Tokyo, and how are you going to, take that and hopefully turn it into something great in New York this weekend?
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough because I think, I've expected like a certain amount from myself, and at the very least, like making it to Tokyo, if not like, hopefully medaling there again. And it was hard. I feel like, mostly after USA's, it was like really hard because I didn't really know about the whole Zurich thing until like, I don't know, like an hour later.
Yeah.
But, it felt like, at the point where I was, and it was just like, I still ran like the best race I could at USA's. And, if I didn't make it, then it's like, I hope that the guys that we're sending are going to like really kill it there when they get there. But, it's definitely hard. I feel like we're going to have like these moments in your career, at least if you have like a decently long one, where, you're not going to perform as well as you want to, or you're not going to get like to where you want to get to. But, it's not like I was doing that all year. Like, I think like I took it all into perspective and I was just like, I'm not really going to let like one or two bad races define my whole season. And even though I really wanted to be there, and I'm really jealous of everyone who's going because I also just love Tokyo as a place. I'm still just gonna, keep my head up, and I feel like just really lock in for next year. There's no Worlds next year, so there's less you got to do for that. But I still really want to have like a good 2026, and I feel like I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen.
We talk about how fast these miles go by, and that can be a positive, right? When you have a day like the one you had in Paris, and it can also go by really quickly on the negative side. When you think about what happened, in the race in Eugene, was it you didn't run the race that you think you could have run, or did a few other guys just have incredible days and they were just better than you that day?
Kind of felt like a little bit of both. I feel like, seeing like that many guys run that fast at USA's was like really crazy and surprising. But also I think like, I thought I'd have like a little stronger of a kick. Like I know like leading races is very hard, obviously. And so it's like maybe I shouldn't have led like the entire thing or just like 800 of it or something. But, like I talked to my coach about it, and I think, we just kind of agree that it's just, the circumstances of what was happening around me, but also just like, could tweak some things like race strategy wise to make sure that, you secure that top 3 position. But yeah, no, I think like, the USA's at a really good spot right now. I think after Paris, that was very evident. And I think, it's really, really exciting to be in an era where like not just the world is good, but also like USA is really, really good. So yeah. I'm really, really excited for those guys. They better kill it there, I must say. But
well, Becs, Tokyo's loss is our gain here in New York.
Exactly. When we get you here in New York, we have a couple of things I think a lot of people want to talk about that is not necessarily running related.
My favorite.
One being your amazing pet.
Tyro.
Who is Tyro?
Tyro, the turtle.
I was like, can Tyro come as well, please? That was my request. But you seem to just have, earlier this year, you announced that you're in a relationship with your partner, Julian. And it just is, there seems like there's a lot of wonderful things going on for you outside of running as your heart's getting full in those other things. Is that setting you up, you think, for even more success, as you said, for a great 2026 and whatever may come thereafter?
No, 100%. I mean, I think just like this year I felt, like it's been just like more okay to just like be myself in a lot of ways and just like, do things that like I might have been worried about doing before. And I think that's just really important. Like you want to have like a really strong sort of base behind your running. Like running is obviously just a lot of training and like putting in the work and all that stuff. But, like I think especially like now, like where it's like I might not have the year that I wanted to have, you want to have like people that you can like trust and fall back on. And, having Julian to help me through it has been amazing. I still haven't gotten to see my tortoise yet since I've been away in Europe, but I will see him again soon after this.
Is he hibernating? No, not yet.
No, not yet. He'll be in like Thanksgiving or something like that.
Okay, so you've got some time.
Yes, yeah, we'll get some time together. But he just kind of winds down in the fall, so it's like, but.
I just have to ask, why a tortoise? Like I see irony in this. Is this meant to be ironic? You're you're kind of the hare in this relationship. Is that how this goes, or what's what drove you to get the slowest animal on earth as your pet?
Okay, surely the snail is slower because
my brain went there too. I'm so thank you for correcting it.
Pedantic, but like
snails actually slower.
Fine, you're fair enough. Fair enough.
To a tortoise owner and someone who has a tattoo on the chest of their arm. Like, come on.
No, yeah. So I got him like in COVID during 2020, as a lot of people got pets, and originally my plan was, like I'll have this pet and he'll be like a team pet and I'll just like pass him on to like generations of like senior teams, cross country teams at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But then I ended up doing a 5th year and then I got like really, really attached. So I was kind of just like, also I just didn't trust anyone to take care of him. So I was kind of just like, actually I'm just gonna like go to Boulder and take him with me.
Did he have to acclimatize to altitude?
No, but he did have to fly, which was probably his worst experience. Probably second to him flying over to get to me in the first place. But I kind of like did like because he was like sort of hibernating already at that point when I moved. So it was like
So get on a
mostly
plane.
easy, but I think he kind of woke up and was just like, what is going on? Like
Can the turtle fly in the cabin with you? Like you
Yes.
can bring it with you, right?
I literally just brought him through security and I was like, this is my tortoise. And then they just swabbed him and then let him pass through.
Oh my gosh, my daughter is getting a tortoise.
Yeah. But
And
yeah.
how do you know it was a bad experience for him? Was he in his shell the whole flight? Like what was the how did you get the emotional temperature there?
He just like peed himself like twice. That's usually how you know if they're like defecating or urinating, then they're not having a good time.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. So like I really
that would be a tell. Yes, that would definitely be a tell.
But yeah, I just love the idea. Like I wanted an easy pet. I feel like I didn't think I had, especially with my pro career and stuff, I couldn't, at least some people manage it well, but like I couldn't really handle like a dog or a cat. And a tortoise just seemed like so cool too. I was just like, it's just so sick. He just like hangs out there and does his own thing, which is like what I do most of the time. 'Cause I'm just like keep to myself too. So I think I just related a lot with him, and then the irony of the slow tortoise, fast person. But he's awfully fast when he's motivated. I will say, like he will move, like especially if he's just like, if he's like on carpet or something. I feel like if he's outside, he'll be pretty chill. But like when he's like inside and I just let him have like some living room time or whatever, he just like goes like crazy. He's like, oh my God,
This is
a
the content
toe.
we
I'm gonna
need.
go bite this. And I'm just like, stop. He just basically tries to eat everything that isn't food. So yeah. But
This is all the content we need. We need more Tyro.
Yeah.
Tyro running around your carpet content.
no, people
Personally.
always want more Tyro content.
Yes.
And it's like, if I was more into social media, I'd probably give it to them. But I maintain some at least.
Yeah. And a professional runner element as well.
Yeah.
Can we talk New York food while you're here? Are you a foodie? Are you interested in?
I love food. I don't know if I'm a foodie.
Okay.
I think I just love eating, honestly.
Is there, let's not talk pre-race because I know you probably have your specifics for your pre-race. But is there anything that you have come to New York and you're here for this race that you're like, I cannot wait to go and eat that?
Honestly, like it feels like just generally New York pizza. Like I've had a lot of really good New York pizza after races. Yeah, I've had so many, honestly, different places like right after my races. I haven't had like one specific place that we go to, but there's just like so many good
So
ones.
many.
Like I just
So
love
many.
pizza generally,
There we
but
go.
you know, I think just like having like a really, especially if it's like really greasy or something, I'm just like
Ooh,
I'm
yeah.
about that. So,
All right.
yeah.
Okay. Rob will be dragging you to Connecticut.
Yeah, there's good pizza up there, but you can't go wrong in New York City. It's everywhere. All right, so you've fed yourself, you fueled up, you're towing the starting line of the New Balance Fifth Avenue Mile this Sunday. How do you approach this kind of a race? I don't know how many road miles you've done. Do you have a lot of experience doing road
Hold on.
miles?
Can we
Two.
play the game?
2.
Can we
What
can we
game?
ask him the question that I asked you?
Yeah.
How far do you think Yared's long runs are?
Oh, that's a good question. To get ready for a mile?
Just
a
generally,
long
like
run?
throughout the
General.
season, you know.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, 2 miles?
Insulting.
You
Okay,
go
a little
long?
bit.
You
I
go
think I
really
am.
long getting ready for miles? I guess it would make sense. I don't even know. How far do you go?
Like 17.
You go 17 miles?
I've gone 17 miles.
Who else
I
sounds
don't
like they don't do
amazing.
enough? I'm like, so should for a marathon, should we be running like 50 miles?
That's fascinating to me. I mean, what?
Yeah.
I assume most milers do that. What is that doing? It's just an endurance game. It's just simply building the
His pace.
VO2 max.
His pace was like 6:10.
I think like a lot of people, it's coach dependent for sure. And I think my coach just is very distance heavy and like strength is speed sort of guy. And so to do that, it's like, you know, we all got to go on these long runs and just like hammer. Sometimes we don't always hammer the long runs, but
But you can.
we could. I don't really. I usually get dropped on almost all of these long runs. Also, like
Yeah.
I think I'm going fast, and they're just going like way faster because they're just way more distancy than I am. But yeah, no, it's
So you're used to running, obviously, on the track. You said you've done 2 road miles before. What's the mentality? How do you approach a point-to-point, straight line mile like you're going to get out on Fifth Avenue Sunday?
I think. I mean, I've heard that it can be very deceiving how close the finish line is, so I will be watching out for that. But you know, I think like road miles are a little weird because you kind of just like go at a certain point, I'm assuming, and that's what I've done in my road miles in the past. Whereas like in the track, you kind of know where you are. Like in the road mile, like I'm sure there'll be like quarter mile markers or something, but like I'm not really gonna know. Like I don't know when 200 meters to go is. I'm just gonna have to guess and be like, all right, this seems like a good enough place to like really put in a good kick, and hopefully I don't die by the time I get there. So yeah, like there's like a few little different things, but I think like I've heard it's very downhill too, so I think that'll be nice.
There's a bit of an up and there's a bit of a down. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you get a little undulation. This may be the only time I'm ever able to give someone as fast as you any kind of a tip when it comes to running. But this is my moment right now. You're running down Fifth Avenue. What you should do is go out there tomorrow or Saturday and look at the street signs, okay? And you'll be able to see what street you're on as you go down Fifth Avenue. And as the street numbers go down, you'll know how close you are to the finish line. So that is a pretty good way to demarcate. And I've run this, once or twice, and that's what I do is just count down the blocks.
How good's
So
your
that's a
Pretty good.
little
I got
pro
contacts.
tip from a non-pro at running the New Balance Fifth Avenue Mile.
That's
Good to know. I'll check them out. I think that'll at least so I can get like an idea of where I am versus like just running blindly. So
And the potholes.
and the potholes. There are
Yeah.
potholes. I didn't know that.
No,
disrespect.
there are no potholes on New York City streets. Absolutely not. Never. There's never been a single pothole. Our friends in the Department of Transportation asked me to say that. Absolutely. No, I'm sure it'll be in great shape on Sunday. And we're thrilled to have you as a part of this race. Can't wait to see what you do. We know it's going to be great. It's going to be special for us, for all of our runners, the 8,500 runners coming behind you on Sunday as well at the New Balance Fifth Avenue Mile. So have a great couple days getting ready for it, and we will see you on Fifth Avenue.
Thank you guys. I can't wait.
Yared Nuguse, the one and only. New York Road Runners is a nonprofit organization with a vision to build healthier lives and stronger communities through the transformative power of running. The support of members and donors like you helps us achieve our mission to transform the health and well-being of our communities through inclusive and accessible running experiences, empowering all to achieve their potential. Learn more and contribute at nyrr.org/donate. All right, and that does it for a really fun episode of Set the Pace. Bex, it was great to see you. Thanks to all of you for coming out here to the Run Center, and we'll see so many of you out there this weekend. If you're out there listening to the podcast, make sure you rate it, send us a question, we'll answer it live, and give us 5 stars out there. And good luck to everybody training, whether it's for Fifth Avenue or the Bronx. Enjoy the miles. We'll see you next week.